It's Tuesday. It's time for remembering how it was with the Washington family in Greensboro, North Carolina. I am Justin Washington, and I'm with my sister,
Wambui Body, here in New York City. My brother's down there in Greensboro, North Carolina, where we were born. I always like to say there were four siblings, four of us. And just because they're not here, that don't mean we don't hold them dear in our heart. We love them. We're very fortunate in that way. We're okay with each other. You know what I'm saying?
They are going to pop in at some point. They are going to pop in and say, hey. But today, we are running through some topics that our family experienced. This is what it's about, our family experience. We were talking about food. And today we're going to talk about what our mother, our grandmother, our aunt, with the stuff they kept us fed with all the time.
Yeah, food was very important. Well, first of all, I remember that food was, if someone came to visit you from out of town, or even just came to visit you and they were there for a little while, if you didn't offer them food, that was considered just really rude. And if you didn't offer them food to take with them, if they had a little ways to go back home, you had to pack them. Remember that? It was all about, that was a staple, a courtesy that was a staple. You made sure they were fed. And you sent them home with food.
Well, you know what? That was part of that car trip that we talked about earlier. That was part of that. That was a big part.
Yes.
We
food.
had pork chop sandwiches.
I remember a couple of times we took the train somewhere. And I remember the shoe boxes. You had a shoe box. And everybody had a shoe box that was their shoe box. And in that shoe box was their food. That for them, that was their food. Now, if you ate your food, unless somebody wanted to be really kind, you were done. That was your food in that box.
We should go in there. I remember you and Roberta when you was at NYU and Roberta's at Howard. I remember the care package that y'all guys, when you left and took the bus or the train, you have a box of food. It was kind of reminded me of the Beverly Hillbillies a little bit. But that's what it was.
We had a box of food. Now, I always thought that, I don't know what I did have a few people to compare her to, but I always thought my mother was like the best cook in the world.
The best.
But we were in North Carolina in the 50s. Those women were some cooking women. All those women, all the mothers were some cooking.
Was no microwaves.
There were no microwave.
The
TV dinners didn't come till later. They didn't come till later.
You know what? I don't think the TV dinners ever came to our house. They came, but I don't
you know
think they
what?
came to
Me and Roberta tried them because we used to see them advertised on TV, and they always looked so good. And you just we tried it. It was ugly. It wasn't good. But we pretended like it was because we thought we must be missing something. Because on TV, everybody said, "Oh, this is so wonderful, TV dinner."
I know it was a great visual.
But so why don't we go back to our grandmother who had chickens. Again, because I was born in 1950, you were born in 57. So things that I remember, you may not remember, but she had were you old enough to remember when she still had chickens?
I have two memories of those chickens. I remember her wrenching, the word was wrenching, a chicken's neck.
Ringing, yeah. They call it ringing.
Wrenching that neck. I remember that. I remember. Now this is the gory part. I remember that head coming off and that thing jumping all over every place. I remember.
Well, yeah.
Let me tell you, I had a goofball moment one time, and she looked at me like I was crazy, and I was crazy because what it was, she had gave me some eggs, and I'll never forget. She told me to chuck them to the house, and in my 4 or 5, 6-year-old mind, chuck them. Man, you want me to throw them at the house?
Yeah. Chuck them at the house. Well, see, I'm still lost. Because what did she mean? Because to me, chuck does mean you throw it.
Chuck mean though, but she meant, I guess her thing was to chuck them to the house, to take them to the house.
She
Take
just
them.
wanted you to take them. You didn't chuck
And
them,
she
did
said,
you?
I chucked one or two of them before she turned around. I said, sorry about little bit, but she told me to chuck them. I'm like, well, I'll do it. I didn't object. That was the last time I chucked anything else. I tell you that.
Yeah, they did have different words, different terms. Yeah,
Yeah,
we're getting off now, but I remember instead of saying sink, remember they used to say zinc, put it in a zinc.
yeah,
I never
yeah,
understood
yeah, yeah, yeah,
what
yeah,
what
yeah.
what they were, but yeah, my grandmother had a yard full of chickens, and she would go out there, like he said, get one, wring the neck, and then put it in boiling water, pull those feathers off, then cook that thing for dinner.
Did it?
Now, I never wanted that. I used to say I want store-bought chicken. For some reason, if I saw her kill it, I didn't want to eat it. I couldn't eat it. So,
Yeah, yeah. Well, you
but
know what? Her backyard had pecans that we always bring home, and she had a
yeah,
grapevine way back in the back. So she had some good foods back there.
yeah.
She also
They had a
she
big.
had a garden one time too.
They had what?
They had a
What did you
garden
say?
one time too. A
Oh yeah,
garden.
they almost everybody did.
Yeah, yeah.
And especially our relatives that lived in the country, they were like farmers. They
Oh,
had
oh, yeah,
acres and acres of corn, and they had
yeah.
hogs. They keep everything. They were like very self-sufficient as far as the eating part, and the food was for the most part good. I didn't like
The
to
food was
eat
good.
anything that I saw killed, but the food we ate very good to be not very to have not very much money. We the one thing we did was we ate good. My mother fed us well. We had well, we can't overlook Sunday dinners
Oh
where
man,
you would
Sunday.
start cooking the day before. I
Yeah,
mean, we're
yeah.
not even talking about a holiday or a Thanksgiving. We just talking about every Sunday.
Sunday was
The
an
cooking
event.
started on
Period.
Saturday. Yeah,
Sunday was an
just
event. Mama used to make sure Sunday was, and I don't know if people do that anymore, but Sunday was an event
on Sunday, we always had a staple was fried chicken
every Sunday.
and
Every
potato
Sunday. Yeah,
salad. Potato salad, that was
yeah,
a staple.
yeah,
And green beans,
yeah,
string beans.
yeah,
And
yeah.
then rice,
As a
rice and
special,
gravy.
oh man, we was riced out. Right. And
So,
that gravy, oh man, we said that rice, that gravy Mama used to make, the light
oh,
brown gravy.
yes, yes. Oh my
Yeah,
goodness, it was all about the gravy, and it was
it
all
was all
about
about the gravy.
then sometimes yams,
Yams.
sweet
See, we
potatoes.
going to a bigger deal because I'm going to the stuffing. I'm going to. You got
Oh,
me going
see,
back
you're
to the
going
whole
to
plate.
you're sliding over to Thanksgiving and into
Yeah, I'm
Christmas.
thinking about the food.
But
Yeah, yeah.
but just Sunday, every Sunday alone was just
Was an event.
amazing. and
Mom used
and
to.
um and she was very good about making sure we had the part of the chicken that we liked. That's what I loved about her because
Yes,
I
yes,
only liked
yes,
the short thigh. And then there was some of
yeah.
y'all that only liked the drumsticks. And I don't know what daddy liked, but she was very good about she was very good at that. Wasn't she that make sure that we got
Daddy always got the big piece. Huh?
and the thing too I remember is that we all sat down at the table
Yes,
pretty
yes.
much
We will
together during the week. Sometimes it was a little
walk from church, walk from
say it again.
church. We would walk from church, and the meal would be already on the stove. We would get
Yeah, yeah,
home, and the table, and she like that say we were a family unit at that Sunday meal time.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know.
Yeah, if we didn't need to get together at any other time on Sunday, we all sat around that table and we had a very good meal and then there was dessert was just part of it. It wasn't even like a
Oh
question,
man.
is there going to be dessert?
Oh
There
man.
was always
Oh man.
something. My favorite was lemon meringue pie. What was your what did you have a
Mine
favorite?
was German, German chocolate cake.
Oh, okay.
German
Well, wait a
chocolate
minute.
cake.
Let me see. Well, wait a minute. Okay, that was my
Huh.
favorite too.
Yeah, that German chocolate cake.
Okay.
Mama was a
I
special for that.
Yeah. Now I'll tell you what I didn't like. I didn't like any of those puddings. I didn't like rice pudding. I didn't like bread pudding. I didn't like banana pudding. Remember those pudding thing for people like? I think banana pudding was probably the most popular,
Banana pudding. She did a bad banana pudding. She did a banana pudding.
but
She
I
did
didn't
that.
care for. But I didn't care for that.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
didn't care for that because. But I did
yeah.
like Jello. I like green Jello. remember, remember, remember
Oh,
what when it was a thing to put open up a can of fruit and pour it in the Jello and that let that chill. That was like fancy. That
yeah,
was supposed to
yeah,
be. Then you had
yeah,
Jello with
yeah. That
little
was the
fruit in
fancy
it.
dessert. Little,
Yeah,
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 that
yeah,
was.
yeah. Yeah, but that's
Yes.
the that,
Now
that, that mama did that, but that wasn't her thing though. Her thing was baking.
everything
I
was
remember
baking.
I remember the pound cake, the little shape thing she had to pour the batter in, and she'll cook it and turn it upside down. The cake would fall out. You remember that? It's like a pound cake
Yes.
thing.
And do you remember she had that old book? It was a Betty Crocker cookbook that must have been, I mean, it was, I don't know, from the 40s, I don't know, 40s, or it was an
Yeah,
old book. And
yeah.
then she had her own little cards in there.
Yes,
Yeah,
I
she
do.
liked,
I
she
do. I
liked,
do. I do. I do.
she liked
I
baking.
do.
She liked,
I do.
as you say, making everything from scratch. Making everything from
Yeah,
scratch.
yeah,
She'd say, these young people, they
yeah.
don't know nothing about making everything from scratch.
But I tell
So,
you, I used to hang around because used to had a mix master thing, this little thing that she used to run around the
yeah,
bowl. And then I
right,
think remember
right.
before she used to have this flat spoon type thing she used to stir. And
Yeah, yeah. They were like,
yeah,
yes, yes, here we go.
yeah, yeah.
She was her own mix master. Yes,
I used to love that.
but
I used to love that spoon. I used to love that bowl after it was all done. She used to give me the bowl,
uh-huh.
and I would
She
work
would let
that
you,
bowl. I would work the
you
bowl.
know, you know. Um, there was a period in there as we got older where she felt like she should change with the times, and that's when I remember her buying boxes of cornbread mix. Like before there all
Yeah,
that she
yeah,
used to
yeah,
make everything from scratch, but then I think she felt like, "Oh, I should go with the times." And so she's
yeah,
with some
yeah,
things she
yeah.
started buying in the box. It would never
The
taste it
Jill.
like her stuff, but she just
Yeah,
felt like, "Oh, I'm oh, look, you just need to add
yeah,
water to this." We have
yeah, yeah,
cornbread.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
But also
That was a terrible transition.
also, we had a garden. Remember going out there? She'd tell you go out there and
Yes,
get a mess of
yes,
beans.
yeah,
She'd
yeah,
say
yeah,
get
yeah,
a
yeah,
mess of
yeah.
beans for dinner, and then you had to sit there
I,
and snap those string beans.
oh man!
And
But I remember going to that garden to get the beans or whatever, collard or whatever I got. The green snakes used to freak me out. You
okay,
remember the green? Remember them green
oh yeah,
snakes?
I was scared of snakes. I'm still am to this day. I don't like a snake.
That was the thing,
Yeah,
man. I used to go out there, but they didn't bother her. But anyway, she used to she harvested her garden and she bring it to the house.
she had tomatoes. She had cabbage, string beans. Oh God, she has collard greens. She had collard greens.
Collard
So
greens, yeah.
we if money was tight, we would just go to our backyard and get food, and that was such a beautiful thing for those days.
Wait a minute. I'm gonna have to stop. You say if money was tight?
If we didn't have money, well, if we had less than we normally had, if we had
Yeah.
less than we normally had, yeah, we were very tight. We were, I don't know. By the grace of God,
No,
we
we were good,
made it,
but
but
we
we always looked like we had it going on too, because
we were clean. We were clean.
she made us clean. We always looked like we had it going on. Because my mother used
Yeah.
to say, even if you don't have 2 cents, when you walk out this door, you need to look like a million. That's what, remember her saying
Yeah.
that? She used to say, if you ain't
Yeah.
got but
Yeah.
2 cents,
Yeah.
when you walk out this door, you look like a million. So we look like, we look good.
You
No
look
one
good.
knew that we
Yeah.
only had 2 cents. And uh, I remember even when we were broke, she would
Mm.
say, okay, we're going to have pancakes. Remember that was our broke
Yes.
food when we didn't have no food? We would have
Pancakes and
pancakes for breakfast, pancakes for lunch, pancakes for dinner, pancakes for a snack. It was, you know,
and
I didn't mind it. I'm gonna tell you, I
I
didn't
didn't mind.
mind
I
it
thought, I thought, I thought that we was on top of the game because we did that. I said, no, who
because
does
we had
this?
the pancakes.
Yeah, that was like, man. I thought those were good days. Actually, I learned to know better, but I thought those were the good days.
Okay, because I didn't mind. I didn't mind the pancakes. She would like say it like, she was apologizing. We're gonna have to have pancakes. And I
Yeah,
was like,
yeah,
yeah, for real. So we'd have pancakes, and
yeah.
we forgot about the biscuits that our mother and our grandparents.
Oh
Oh,
man,
the
that was that,
biscuits.
that was a baking family. That was the
Oh
generation of bakers.
my God, the biscuits. just a biscuit, and you could do so many things with a biscuit. You could, first of all, how they used to say, put the molasses in the plate and you sop it up with the
Yeah,
biscuit. That was good.
yeah,
Then you put
yeah.
just butter and jelly on the biscuit.
Jelly, man. Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
But you
jelly,
know what?
right?
I still keep molasses in my cabinet for that moment
See?
when I get a biscuit from whatever. I still do that. And my kids look at me like that was a
Ooh,
flashback move.
yeah, yeah. Some of the food, because I remember one of my favorite things that I liked was to have a hot biscuit with the molasses and then fatback. Those three
Oh my,
things. The
yeah,
fatback.
yeah,
Which
yeah.
was well, like today, I guess what would that be equals? Today they have
I don't
the
know.
fried
Nothing can equal that.
skins is the closest thing that
Yeah,
comes to that, but that not even
yeah.
is not
That's
even in
that
the
that
same
don't
league.
that don't touch it.
Because they would
But I,
actually
I
take the skin of the hog, right? The skin from the hog, put it on a square baking sheet, put it in the oven until it started cracking. I guess that's why they call it crackling.
crackling. Yeah, yeah. I guess so. Yeah, yeah,
And it
yeah.
was it was like like I hear people talk about, oh, I'm gonna have this great steak. I love a good steak. And if I had a choice between the steak and the crackling, how my grandmother used to make it, I'd take the crackling every time.
Yeah, yeah,
I'd take
yeah,
the
yeah.
the fat back every time.
I'm gonna tell you what made me a boss when I was at Caldwell School. Mama used to tuna fish sandwiches.
Tuna
I could
fish.
take a tuna, I could take a tuna fish sandwich, and my peers loved it. So I could trade a half a tuna fish sandwich, and
For
I can get a lot of things. From tuna fish sandwich.
for
I would
almost
keep a half. I
anything.
would trade a half. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was they loved it. They was like, man, you got tuna fish.
But I have to tell you, when she messed me up because there was a couple of times where she gave me a tongue sandwich. You heard what I'm saying? She gave me
Oh,
a cow's
yeah, yeah,
tongue sandwich.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Oh man, when I would open my lunch and see I would cry. Then the people say, "Why you crying?" My mama gave me a tongue sandwich. Didn't nobody want that. Everybody felt sorry for me. I felt sorry for myself. I
I
had to
remember.
tell Mama, don't do that, Mama. Please, 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 just don't give me nothing. If you ain't got nothing, then just say you don't have nothing. But don't give me a tongue sandwich.
I remember hanging with Daddy. Daddy said this thing about he would buy brains and scramble
Yes.
brains and
Yeah.
eggs. And I
He
remember
he
it wasn't bad, but it wasn't it wasn't a
it was just the
tradition.
idea of it was just the thought of
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It was like, man, it was all right. He did it, so I did it. It was all right.
he
If I was
liked
to
all
go get it
kinds of
now,
things. I never heard of tamale till he used to buy these tamales.
oh my
Used to buy
goodness.
oh, you know what? People gonna think we nuts. But you know what I used to love?
What's that?
I used to like pig feet.
I,
Pig feet.
I do. It's a delicacy. The homemade
We
pig
grew
feet.
up with pig feet, pig
Homemade.
ears, Like every part
Yes. Oh my
of the
goodness.
animal we would
Oh
eat,
my
and we didn't
goodness.
see. Like
Oh
now
no.
I'm like very picky, but at that time when I was growing up, it was just good. If it was good, it was good. I tell you what I didn't want though. I never wanted any when they would come back with a rabbit or something, a rabbit or a possum.
Okay.
No, count me out. I was like, just
I
give
don't
me some
remember that.
chicken.
I don't remember. I'm glad maybe I blocked that out.
Well, it never happened in Greensboro, but when we would be visiting down in Goldsboro, some of the
Yeah.
people down there would come back with a rabbit or even a possum. And
Yeah.
yeah, nah, I
Yeah.
was like,
Yeah.
nah,
I'm
I'm
glad
good.
I'm gonna block it. I'm glad that's a block. I got
Yeah, sometimes
I'm, I'm,
sometimes nature doesn't allow you to remember some things in order to protect you. So,
yeah. Well, I'm gonna tell
yeah.
you what. I'm gonna tell you what. My like I guess the skips a generation because my daughter Ashley, she cooks pig parts. She calls them pig parts, like the ears or whatever. She makes them.
Hmm.
I don't know where she got it from, but she does that, man, it's
Okay.
good. She does it well. Maybe she skipped a
Yeah.
generation and came to her, but I know.
Yeah. My, yeah. So I loved so many things that I loved then. I won't eat now, but I loved them at the time. Well, it's almost like I have a thing about the microwave oven. When the microwave first came out, I just thought it was the best thing next to the white bread being invented. And now I don't want to eat. If I'm very seldom will I eat food that's I know has been microwaved, and I don't. Um,
I don't think Mama ever used a microwave. I don't think we ever had even when you wasn't up there. I
no,
don't think
no, she had a
she had
toaster oven,
a
but she
toaster
never
oven,
had a.
a toaster
Yeah,
oven.
but she never had a
Yeah.
microwave. But as I got older and started anyway. But here's the thing too. This is how we knew our mother died from complications from Alzheimer's, and
Mm.
how we knew something was up with her was because her food started not being good. Like here was this
Yeah,
woman that was
yeah,
this amazing
yeah.
cook, and then one day you go there and she has this meal and it tastes like garbage. Okay.
I remember going by Mama's house to check on her, and she always kept
Mhm.
food on the stove. And I remember you can always just grab a piece of chicken, whatever was on the back of the stove, you grab it. And I remember grabbing this nice piece of chicken and I bit it and it was like raw. And
Okay. Yeah.
I remember I had to unplug the stove until it wasn't working, and but that was another story. But yeah, but
Yeah.
she was an amazing
But
cook. But
that's how that was our
that's how,
signal when the food
yeah,
wasn't good
yeah, that was,
anymore. It's like
yeah,
something's wrong with
yeah,
her.
yeah. But you remember how she used to make a meal and she would stand in the doorway and just watch us eat. She wouldn't sit down. She would just watch us.
Yes. Yeah, yeah, I had forgotten about that, but then I know when you were doing an interview for your foundation, somebody was asking you about growing up and you mentioned that. So share that. That's a just yeah, share a little bit more of that, how that was
Okay,
and what.
it's all like, well, all that was my memory on that is like she used to prepare on Sunday. She would prepare and just this nice meal, Sunday or holidays, whatever it was, and she would cook this meal, and she wouldn't sit down. She would stand in the kitchen doorway with her just propped up and just watch us, man. She like whatever we wanted, she would get, but and she never complained. But her
She was
joy was
like
to
that
watch
was
us eat.
like I think, and that was like her feeling joy,
Yeah,
that just the happiness that she had this family and she was able to feed them, and
yeah,
you could see it on her face because she wasn't going to
yeah,
say, "I'm happy. This brings me joy," because she wasn't that person.
yeah, 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 yeah.
So,
But
but yeah, yeah.
that goes back to the holidays, man. When where we did holidays in Goldsboro and Greensboro. But I remember in Goldsboro, everybody would come up. Our grandmother, our aunt Thelma, and my grandfather. They would come up, and we would pull out the fancy eating table. You remember that table that we had in
Okay.
back? That we would open it up. It had
Yes.
the leaves in it. We had this table that we would pull out. It sat in the corner during the day, but holidays would come out and we put the leaves in. It became a fancy eating table. Food was plentiful, man. And I remember because at that time, I don't. That was the first time I remember used to pass even pass the gravy. That
Hmm.
was
Hmm.
that was fast eating.
Here's the thing too that I remember about food is that sometimes I'm out with my grandchildren, even when I was out with my children, they would, can we get this? Can we get a snack? Can we go in here? Can we go to this burger place and get this? Can we get it? And we never experienced that.
No,
You ate, you went to the
no.
bathroom, and you ate before you left the house. There was
Yeah,
no snacking.
know.
No one was going to buy you a soda.
Yeah,
No
yeah,
one was going to
yeah,
buy you a hamburger or a piece of cake, or you you went to the bathroom and you ate before you left the house,
yeah.
and it
But
was understood that was it. You were not
no fast food. No
you were
fast
not
food.
even to ask for some. I mean,
Mm.
unless it was an event. Sometimes we would go to like the fair or something a few times, the
Yeah,
the
yeah,
Guilford County Fair or whatever. Well, it was kind of, you had they had saved money back, knowing that okay, you can get some
yeah.
popcorn, you can get a corn dog, you can get this. But as far
Well,
as just
this
everyday life, go ahead.
well, it's everyday life. This is you was gone. So I had, like I say, I had a different household. So I remember one
Oh,
time,
okay.
mama took me to the circus, and I
Okay.
remember I being at the circus, and we left the circus, and there's this place called Lee Street. Uh, it's called Gate City Boulevard now. It's called Biff Burger, and
Okay.
Mama stopped there and got me a sandwich. Man, I wasn't used to eating out.
See?
You know, she
That's
got the sandwich, and I'm like, this is the best thing ever. And it was almost like the old Eddie Murphy joke. I asked her, "Mom, can I go to McDonald's or whatever?" And she said, "No, I'm gonna fry." She would fry that big burger up with the with the onion sticking,
well,
and no buns, light bread.
yes. Well, it takes us. We have to go back to also when me and Roberta were coming up. We were young. You see, the Jim Crow laws were still on the book, meaning that there were very few places we could go in to eat, and there were very few places we could go in to use the bathroom. So I think those two
Mm,
rules kind of, you
that
had to
was a
go to the
tough law.
bathroom and you had to eat because you didn't know
Yeah, yeah,
if
yeah,
somebody was going to let you have anything or not. I know when me and Roberta were like late junior going into high school, our favorite thing was to go to Woolworths on Saturdays to get chili dogs.
yeah,
Man, we just thought those were the best. And we would
yeah,
stand there, stand right there and eat
yeah,
our chili dogs. It never occurred, I don't know if it occurred to her, it never occurred to me that we should be able to sit down. I mean, they had a counter,
yeah,
but it was kind of like ingrained. You don't sit down, you just get your chili dog and you stand right here and you
yeah.
eat your chili dog. You don't sit down.
Well, speaking of outside food, I remember you guys used to turn me on to, I think the place is on the Bell Bar. I think it was up Union Street. It was like a little. It was almost
Oh,
like a little downtown thing. And I remember I was little.
yeah.
Y'all went to events at Dudley, and that's where the hangout. Everybody would be there, and get the.
Yeah, that
I
was
always do.
because, yeah, because that was at the top of the hill. And I remember
Yeah, by Best Street. Yeah,
getting every day I'd want to save back a dime or a quarter because every day I wanted to get, it was a candy bar called a payday. I
yeah,
wanted to get
yeah,
and the candy bars were, I don't know, maybe a quarter, maybe less than a
yeah.
quarter.
Less
But
than that. Less than that.
I remember I just hold back a quarter, even a dime to get that
Yeah,
to get that that candy every day. But yeah, that up on that hill was it was, in fact, oh my goodness, it was up on that hill that I'm told, now this is what everybody was saying.
okay,
I don't, it
okay,
might have to be fact checked.
okay.
But when Ike and Tina Turner came to Greensboro to do a show, that's where they
Yeah.
stayed because there was no place for them to stay
Right,
because they were Negroes. So, but it
right,
was
right, right.
up at that hill, that little place gave them a room to stay there. So,
Yeah,
um,
that's just the truth. Because the place in our neighborhood, not kind of escaped my name, it's right around the corner from us, Gall Street. It's like a historic place now, but everybody that came through town, like James Brown, whoever, Magnolia Place, Magnolia
Yeah, oh
House.
yes. Mm-hmm.
Everybody, that's where people stayed at. That's where if you come
Yeah.
through town as a black entertainer, that was your option. You
Yeah.
know?
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. so
yeah,
so yeah, so I don't know, the food memory. Oh, because McDonald's didn't even exist when I was little. It
yeah.
came probably came
Probably
about the
while I
time
was,
you were born, 57,
I,
58, somewhere like that.
yeah,
I don't know.
yeah. I
Yeah.
don't know, but I just remember, I remember seeing it, but not using it. But I remember seeing it.
Yeah, because we were already trained not to eat out. We were trained if you're
Yeah,
hungry, you go home and you eat, and then you go back to doing what you want to do. But it was like a thing. If I'm hungry, go home. I have a little bit of that today, where I'm really not that into eating out.
yeah,
I really would
yeah,
rather just eat at home.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
it's supposed to be. Yeah, I'd rather
But
just eat at
but
home.
we was talking earlier about snapping the beans and the collard that was in the
Mhm.
garden, and
Mhm.
I never liked vegetables. When I was little, I never liked vegetables, and I remember one day,
Mhm.
Daddy told me, he gave me some advice one day. I was little. He said, he said, if you eat your vegetables first, then you can enjoy your piece of chicken.
Oh,
So
okay.
that was
And so
that was his psyche. That was my psyche. I said, okay, so I'm gonna kill this stuff, and that was his advice to me, because he saw Mama getting on about, because I would eat my piece of meat, then the vegetables be sitting there. Now I got to deal with these vegetables. he, he kind of whispered in my ear like, hey, this is what you got to do.
here's how you do this. Well, let me help you out, bro.
Yeah,
Let me
yeah,
help you
yeah,
out.
yeah.
Let me
Yeah, after you done put a pound of pepper on his,
Yeah,
he's a
he liked very hot, very spicy food. My father liked
yeah.
very spicy food. My father loved potato chips.
Oh
Remember?
my.
He used to make potato chips, but he
Well,
also
I'm gonna
used to
tell you
get
what.
those cans of potato chips, right?
The Charlie Chip, the
Every
Charlie Chip cans, the Charlie Chip. They used to make
yeah,
the
he
potato chip.
Oh, speaking of food and delivery, remember when the milkman used to bring the milk to your house? Remember we
Mr.
had a
Tompkins
little
was the milkman.
yeah, we had a little silver box.
Had
We'd
the
leave the
little
empty
milk box.
bottles,
Yeah, the
and
milk box.
when we woke
Yeah,
up in the morning, we'd have milk in
yeah,
our little box.
yeah.
And if we
I
wanted
remember,
something extra,
I
like
remember,
cottage cheese or something,
our
we'd write that
milkman. His
down.
name was Mr. Tompkins. Yeah, yeah, that
Mr.
was the,
Tompkins brought us
yeah.
our milk.
It,
Yeah,
it
those were the
had that
days.
round, had a round truck, some type of, I don't even know. I had never seen a truck like that since those days.
Yeah, see, they used to bring us our milk. Those were the good old days. Um,
Yeah.
I
And
remember.
sometimes, so you remember sometimes that you could put in a call and they would bring eggs.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You could write down if you wanted cheese or
Yeah,
cottage cheese or something. You
yeah,
put that
yeah,
in there, and he knew to bring you extra stuff that day. Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, yeah, we had a milkman.
He
That
had
was
a
all
milkman.
right.
Yeah,
I thought that was
yeah.
good. We were,
It was
when I think about the living in those days were real good. Those were real
yeah.
good.
And the
Yeah,
bottles were glass, and you had to return them.
yes, they were glass bottles. Yeah, and you could get buttermilk if you wanted, or just regular milk.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah,
and the food. Because I'm real particular about food, because I just am real conscious of what I eat now. The food back in those days, it was like just so fresh, so pure. It was like you
well,
knew what was in it. Today we don't know
well,
what's
well,
in our food.
Mama used to. You remember people used to fry chicken in a pan. Like, that's odd to say,
Hmm.
but and everybody deep fries everything now. Mama would have a frying pan, and she knew when to turn it. Pork chops and chicken. She knew when to turn it. She knew how to brown it evenly and to cook all the way through. That's
It was
almost like a
perfect,
lost art.
right?
The
And she
black
didn't
crown,
even
the black
that oh, what's the name of that?
skillet,
The black skillet, the
skillet,
cast iron, cast
cast
iron,
iron. Yeah, 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 yeah,
cast
yeah, yeah,
iron. Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
So yeah, those are good memories, food memories.
yeah,
I
yeah.
remember
The food memory.
Jiffy popcorn became my go-to
Oh yeah,
popcorn, because well, Mama
with
had
that
taught us
pop.
how to popcorn, but then this thing came out where the popcorn would explode into
Yeah,
this ball. So
yeah,
that
yeah,
I had to have that.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
That was like
That
amazing.
was, as again, that was high tech. That was high tech, because
Yeah.
that commercial that
Yeah.
Saturday morning, you had to have that.
Now I'm gonna ask you. You remember Scott's barbecue? down in Goldsboro.
Yes. Yeah, on Greenleaf, between Greenleaf and William Street on Goldsboro, right
They were
across
right
from
across the street.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, right, the
So
Scott's Barbecue.
we would go get takeout because we couldn't go in, but we could
Right,
get takeout, and it was
right.
very, very good. But I didn't realize until I became an adult that
Uh,
Scott's Barbecue was owned by a black family,
I
right?
heard that. I
But
heard that.
they were, in
They
order
catered to
to
other.
keep up their
Yeah,
living, they only allowed white people to come in and sit down.
yeah,
But we
yeah,
could go get takeout from them. So
yeah, yeah. But
yeah,
I'm gonna tell
that
you what.
was.
You remember beside Scott Barbecue, the ice cream place,
Oh, Wayne Dairy.
Wayne
Yes,
Dairy. That's
Wayne
what it was.
Dairy.
Yeah, yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
Wayne
yeah.
Dairy. Me and Aunt
That
Sue
was a
would
part
go
of the
there
Goldsboro trip.
and get
Yeah, that
butter
was part of the
pecan.
Goldsboro. Yeah,
Yeah, I loved. Yeah, our aunt. I don't know. I just remember going there with Aunt Thelma. With she would take
yeah,
me to get butter pecan ice cream. It was just so
yeah,
fabulous. It was just so
yeah,
fabulous. And here's the thing too. I wanted to, because a lot of times, and I'm not saying this in a critical way, because I love that people care about how we must have felt. But a lot of times, the young people today, you're saying, well, where is she going to go? That she's a lot of
yeah,
times the young people today feel offended by if somebody serves watermelon or even if they serve Kool-Aid.
yeah,
They say that that's somehow they feel it as a
yeah,
racist thing.
yeah,
And
yeah,
I appreciate that the younger generation or young people want they're mad for us. Like they're thinking, y'all should that's y'all but what they're talking about is how they use the watermelon on different little trinkets and things
yeah,
to, kind of make fun of black people. That was wrong.
yeah,
That was wrong.
yeah,
And
yeah,
that's bad. But at the
yeah.
same time, watermelon was such a good memory
Man, that was a staple.
for it was
That
such a
was
good memory for a lot of us
oh man, I
and such
remember
a good and such a
watermelon.
perfect food.
I
Yeah.
remember watermelon and newspapers. Remember
Okay,
how you had
news
to sit down?
because you were so messy.
Yeah, watermelon and
Yeah.
newspapers, man. They kind of came hand in hand. I remember that.
But I loved when my granddaddy would walk in the house with a
Yeah,
watermelon.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
that to
yeah, yeah,
me is one of the best memories of all times, is
yeah,
seeing that watermelon.
yeah,
And
yeah,
so
yeah,
um, I know there's some people who feel some kind of way,
yeah.
but yeah, but
But you
it's
know what? They got to wear that. They got to wear that because it's delicious. They have to wear that. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? I
yeah.
can't.
So
I can't be
yeah,
mad at that.
like I know they're like feeling for us, and we're saying no, no, no. We understand the little things where people were making fun of us with
Yeah,
the
yeah,
watermelon,
yeah,
the
yeah,
watermelon man, but
yeah,
there's two. There's the other side too, where the watermelon
yeah,
was just wonderful. It was
yeah,
just. It
yeah,
was like
yeah,
candy. It was like a candy that
yeah,
grew on
yeah,
a vine.
yeah, 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 yeah. That and
And the
it
same
could,
with
and
the
it's this,
Kool-Aid.
yeah. But well, I'm saying this: the watermelon, it couldn't match to the cantaloupe, but the cantaloupe was kind of like a off-brand watermelon. What is
Yeah.
popular? But
Yeah, yeah. It was like yeah, it was like the off-brand. And what was that other thing because our mother would when she just grapefruit, grapefruit.
yeah, 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 yeah,
And
yeah,
I don't know, because I always thought of grapefruit as, something that the rich people had
yeah,
grapefruit,
yeah, yeah,
for.
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
but my mother would sometimes buy grapefruit, and then she had a way of cutting it so that where you could just take
Pull
your
out
spoon or
chunks.
fork and take out one section at a time.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Oh, well,
yeah,
while we're talking about food, um, there were a lot of. I remember Mama bringing home food if the people she worked for had a party or something. And we were always excited when she told us, I got to go work this party, because we always knew she was going to bring back this amazing food that would be left over from the party. And that
yeah,
was a treat. That was a treat
yeah,
to get those leftover cakes, candies, whatever it was just really exciting to have the
Well,
food.
well, I always had a hard time with that. I didn't. I had a hard time with that.
You
I
did?
did. That's
You had a hard
That's
time?
emotion right there. I had a hard time accepting that,
You
man. I
had a
did
hard
not like
time with the food that she would
that.
bring from.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I had a hard time with
yeah.
that.
I'm gonna say
That
I
was my
didn't.
that was my moment. That was my moment.
That was your moment. You
Yeah,
didn't
yeah,
like
yeah,
her bringing
yeah.
home the leftovers, because
Nah,
they were
yeah,
leftovers, and
yeah,
that you had a
yeah.
hard
I mean,
time with that.
I mean, they were fresh. They was untouched. It was all good. But I was like, man, no, I didn't like
Yeah. Okay.
that.
Okay. All right. I got you. Well, okay. We each have our thing. I can understand why, but at the time, to me, probably because you also, you came later, and
Yeah.
you had a little bit of different perspective on things
Yeah, I'm gonna tell
than.
you what I did as an adult. What I did. Some people
Hmm.
that Mama used to work for, and
Hmm.
I felt some type of way because I felt that she was giving them as much time as I was getting anyway.
She
But
was.
as an
Hmm.
adult, as an adult, I'm still in contact, and I forget think it was the son. He didn't know where I was coming from, but I apologized to him for being mad at him.
Yeah.
I did.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Well, yeah. I know who you're talking about, and I wrote a little section in a book that I wrote where I talk about that family, and I talk about how, in a lot of ways, I had to make it feel okay by, I would say, okay, these are just my white brothers and sisters, and they live over
yeah,
here
yeah.
because Mama was taking care of us. We were her true kids, and I didn't like that she would go over there
Yeah,
and take
yeah.
care of those kids and tell me what they were doing, and old Choppy. I don't know. He's doing
Yeah,
this
but,
today, and
but you know what? We're still in contact, and
uh,
we call each other brother and sister. We're still in contact.
yeah,
So
yeah,
it's good. Everything's good. It's just that
yeah, yeah. No,
that segment of
yeah,
life.
I had no problem now, and but at the time, you did feel some kind of way because you knew your mother, because she wiped our noses, she was wiping their noses. She made us food, she
Yeah,
was making
yeah,
them
yeah,
food. She was trying to teach us right from wrong, she was teaching them right from wrong,
yeah,
and
yeah.
so it was like as if we never met them at when we were young,
Right,
and we
right.
always wondered who these people were. So to make it feel
Yeah,
better, I just said, "Oh, these are my white brothers and sisters that live over here."
yeah, yeah,
And my
yeah,
mama takes
yeah,
care of them too. But
yeah,
yeah, it left you feeling some
yeah,
yeah, emotional,
yeah,
some kind of way of like, well, wait a minute, she's my mother. Like I
yeah,
think if I
yeah,
had met them as a young child, she wouldn't have had that job because I would have said, "Wait, this is my mother,
yeah.
okay?"
But
I don't even.
that's the time. And like I said, I've met him. I run across him. I've hung out with him one time recently,
Yeah.
and
Well, we met him. I met him at
everything's good.
Mama's funeral when he
Yeah,
came to
yeah, yeah, yeah,
he came to
yeah.
Mama's funeral, which I
Everything's
thought
good.
was a really good. So yeah, so that's I don't know. Those are
We took it
the
somewhere else,
memories.
but
Yeah, yeah. I took
we,
it. I tend to do that, don't
yeah,
I?
yeah.
Yeah.
But oh, it's one thing. There's one thing I want to say
Okay.
about
Okay.
Mama's baking. Our brother Joel, he got that. He got that. He got that. He's a master chef. He cooks, man. He's a bad dude. These are our memories. Hope you have your memories. Bring some. Hope we help you bring back some of your memories. This is what we do. This is why we're doing this for our grandkids, great grandkids, whoever. And hopefully this will inspire you to do something the same.